Paul, you're throwing your life savings into this to get the Lambo?
Yeah, you know what? I decided to take an advance on my monthly rent, and I just decided to put it on crypto, and weirdly it didn't go well.
Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice. But here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Bobby Davis, Paul Bratslavsky, and Sarah Kimmel.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast, the tech podcast where we talk about everything from AI to VR, robots to flying cars. I'm Kevin Doyle, and this week I am joined by Paul Bratslavsky, Sarah Kimmel, and Bobby Davis. Coming up in this week's episode, RayBan Meta glasses add multimodal AI support. The Google Play Store is officially and legally a monopoly, and that will just continue to make me laugh. The day before, the biggest game scam in years, and then we'll wrap up with the Null, Not Null recommendation section, where we recommend that you avoid a product or a service. Okay, before we jump into our stories this week, usual, I have a question. You guys don't know what I'm going to ask you, but surprise. So Bitcoin, it's up over 40K. Okay, it's up 157% year to date. Okay, anyone still in on crypto, or is crypto dead?
As an investment?
In general, investment, sure.
Yeah, I think that I think it's always going to have wide swings. If you can resist to buy at the bottom, and you have money to spend, then you can buy at the bottom.
It's better than any investment that I've made this year. 157%.
Well, my NVDA stock's done really well, but like
it hasn't done 157% though.
No,
right?
it hasn't done that.
In a year.
It's done like 39%. But like, yeah, if you bought in at 21, it's pretty good. But like, it is super risky, and there's no cause for correlation of what causes the moves. Is it related to interest rates? I don't know. Maybe.
Is it some dude on 4chan? Probably.
I do think there's market movers in it that do it. For sure.
Oh, 100%. There's market manipulation for sure.
Yeah. If you're not in it, then you can't win it. But like if you see a low, then you can. The cool thing about this is, unlike stocks, which continually rise and you never know where the bottom is all the time, unless there's a major correction like in 87. This will crash again. Yeah. If I had Bitcoin, I bought it at 21. I'm at 41 right now. I'm selling it today.
Okay, is that that's your top then? I mean, it's peaked at 60 something, right? A couple of years back.
Yeah,
so we're still 20K off that. It's still but it's 20K more than it was last year too.
Right.
Like I said, 157%. So
just
yeah, you
sell
have
it and then put it in something else. But that's I'm not a broker. I'm not an expert on this stuff. But
yes, please don't take financial advice from this.
Not from me, that's for sure. But
yeah.
And I don't own any of this stuff. I've never bought it. I've always bought stocks and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's speculation. It is an absolute lottery ticket is what it is.
Yep.
A really expensive one.
Yeah.
Can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's way too volatile for me. Like I'm not a risk taker. So, I like my full-time job with like my safe paycheck. Like I'm just not a risk taker. So I am staying as far away from crypto as possible.
Paul, you're throwing your life savings into this to get the Lambo?
Yeah, you know what? I decided to take an advance on my monthly rent, and I just decided to put it on crypto, and weirdly it didn't go well. The thing about crypto, I look at it, it's like it is like a lottery. It's like you have no idea. And I'm sure there are stories of people that I made so much money, but there's also people that you don't hear that lost their like life savings or rent money because they thought and they betted on this thing. And to me, for instance, what would convince me to invest in crypto is if I had like money that I just don't care about and I just want to throw it away, and then I might take a chance. But there's so many other things that I much rather invest than crypto. Like stocks to me like makes more sense because there's a company behind it. But behind crypto, I don't know what the hell's behind it. Like like you said, like some guy on 4chan pulling all the strings.
It's definitely machines doing it. It's machine trading, and you can look at it. The question is, when do the machines decide to dump this?
Right.
And they will. And then they'll buy it again. And they'll run it back up again and they'll sell it. And then you just have to know that Don't get in the hype train, get in the loser train. It's hard to do that when you're saying, I'm going to drop 20 grand in this and it's like a lot of money for you. It's like, I don't know. I'm going to wait till it's a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But really that's the most risky bet right now is like 40 grand. I think it's super risky at this point. I can see it going down any day now for whatever reason.
But what's going to happen is the people are going to see that lure of like coming to the end of the year. They're like, wow, 157% like year to date. That's like, I mean, that's head and shoulders above any kind of other investment you can make, short of like making a miracle bet on some company that like, went gangbusters. I mean, you're making 30% on the top Fortune 500 companies at the best for this year, right? Mm-hmm. But you're talking about Microsoft and your Apples and, the big companies. So this is, way in excess of that, but it could have also tanked.
Yeah. And I would say like, if it was like so like great investment and everybody could win, we would have more millionaires this time around. Like, it's just crazy how like 150%, like it's ridiculous. It's like, but a lot of people do lose and only few, make it. To me, it's too volatile. It's like if someone said to me, it's like, hey, Paul, there's a random time I'm going to punch you in the face. You just don't know when. I'm like, that's not the bet that I want to make. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel about crypto. Like, it's going to one day punch you in the face. You'll wake up and you're like, oh, where did all my money go? It's like gone. And to me, like, I like more security. I mean, I think, but people do hype, but crypto. But that's I'm too what's the word? Like too averse to like high risk. Like, so to me, I just want to do something boring.
What I do like is that they're covering Bitcoin. The financial people are covering Bitcoin, not every single coin. And that
well, because they all go on kind of a trend generally. It's like when one's
so
up,
Dogecoin's gone and the millionaire coin and like everyone's making a coin and so like is there going to be a utility for these things? I don't think so. I think Bitcoin is what it is, a speculative investment. I don't think it's ever going to be a
and the
form of
trend for all the other coins is
payments.
Bitcoin. It's like the only one. If I were to buy one, it would be Bitcoin. With everything else, like the trend is like it literally is influencer hypes a coin, bunch of dudes who just want to spend their rent money, buy it, but it's too late. They already pulled, sold, and it just crashes, and that's it. That's just unfortunate scam. I mean, way people play it. I guess like to be honest, morals aside, if I were to get into like Bitcoin, I would create my own cryptocurrency and pump it up as a social influencer. Get a bunch of people.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't I? Just buy it and then be like, yeah, totally. It's just gonna go to the moon, and then it's like, oh, sorry, you didn't, and I already sold, and you old folks.
So how does the not null coin sound? Does that sound like
let's do it? Not null coin, exactly.
I'm in. Let's throw the life savings into it.
It's never going to be null. It's not null, man.
$1.
$1. Hey, you never know. 1,000 times it. Suddenly you got $1,000.
That's like we could do like this marketing scam where it's like we didn't say not null. We said the null coin. That's worth nothing. And
it's in the name.
It's in the name. How did you like not think that was going to happen? Every sitting in our like Porsche chairs or like whatever. Like
Porsche chairs.
As we cashed out,
We bought a chair. That's how well it did.
Yeah.
I have a very small amount of crypto that I bought a long time ago, so it's done well. But it was a couple $100 when I first put it in, and it's currently $1,300, but it tapped out last year, maxed out at like over $2,200.
Wow.
So it's still obviously down from that, but I'm just like, it was a couple $100. I just left it there. I'm just going to see like at the end of my life, where is my crypto? Right. I have no what's going to happen to it. It's not a real investment. It's just a game.
Well, and that's I like your perspective that you're just like, what, like I'm gonna do. And what I think like a happy way for me to do it's like, like, and I mean, now it's like so expensive, like whatever, but it's like, instead of spending money on lottery tickets every week, I would just put it like, if I were to do it, just, hey, something's frivolous spending that I'm like, I don't care, and like you said, at the end of, when it's time to retirement, it's like, oh, it's extra 20 grand, or maybe it's extra negative 20 grand, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. Because you're just
exactly, because if you're willing to risk
Yeah.
Exactly. You willing to risk a couple $100?
Yeah.
Like, just let it be the couple $100. Like,
Yeah.
it is what it is, right? Who cares? Okay, let's talk about glasses. Let's talk about the RayBan Meta glasses. So these have been out for a minute now. They came out earlier with the Quest 3, so earlier in the year, a couple months back. So currently, this pair of glasses, you can take photos with them, you can listen to music, they have headphones in them, you can live stream to Facebook or Instagram, and they have AI in them. So you can say, hey, Meta, and you can ask the AI questions, and it can speak back into your ear. So pretty cool, pretty interesting things. I think they're $300, right? $299, I think they are. But today, they're rolling out a new feature, multimodal AI support. So this is quoted as the AI can tell you about things, and the Meta AI assistant can see and hear through the camera and the microphones of the glasses. So in the demo, they had Zuckerberg holding up a shirt, and he held up a striped shirt, weird shirt by the way. I don't know why he owns this thing, but it said he wanted suggestions for the pants to go with it, and it suggested like a couple of different ideas. It said, "Oh, wear a solid color like blue pant with us." Like, oh, okay. Interesting. It recognized it as a shirt and the coloring of it. And then another demo by the I think it's a technical guy over at Meta in a different video. He looked at a picture of a state on a wall, and it was like a 3D piece of art with some lights in it. And he said, "Hey Meta, what is this?" And it recognized exactly what it was. It says, "Oh, that's a picture of I forget what state it was, but and it's got lights in it." Like it knew exactly what it was. Like it knew exactly, wasn't confused at all. It's like, wow, okay, that's really interesting. So apparently it can also listen and it can hear things and say it can kind of interpret like what it's hearing as well. So very cool. So it's gone full multimodal, I guess. It's currently in beta with a small group of opt-in users in the US. So I've seen some people on Threads talking about having it. So it's not that small of a group because some people outside of Meta are talking about it. So, you know, the average every person was there talking about having it. So that's kind of cool. So this is something that's going to launch wide next year. So, Bobby, let me ask you as a glasses wearer, is this the killer AI app? Is this have a use case? Would you consider your next pair of glasses to have AI built into them? Just your daily wears?
I wouldn't wear these daily. It's cool though. But I don't know how useful it. I'd have to try it out to see if I'd actually use it a lot. It's cool, but still has the two cameras around the edge. It kind of look dorky, but like, you know, the other thing too that I laughed out loud was the guy says, "Hey, what shirt should I wear?" And it says, "Hey, put on a pair of jeans." And we're like, "Wow, shocking way to grow there." Super
it's like, this is a striped shirt. You should put jeans on.
I mean, it didn't tell him to put hammer pants on. You know what I mean? Like,
but
it could have.
AI is probably like, he's got a striped shirt on, but no pants. Let's see here. I think you should put pants on just in general. It's so good advice.
Like, AI at its highest.
Yeah, I mean, I forget to put pants on sometimes, so I totally think see the utility of it. You know,
you need the reminder.
Yeah, I need that reminder.
You need the glasses
like,
to remind you.
Plaid or paisley pants. I think that will go really well with the striped shirt.
Yeah, see, it could have suggested that. It could have suggested like plaid pants, right? And that would have been bad. You know,
Sure.
I mean, you can't just say, you know. Jeans would look
true
bad if it was
AI
like
would have said, "Really, you're wearing that shirt out?"
Yeah.
A true AI would have said that.
Well, this is true. This is true. The shirt was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of interesting.
They're like, hey, the 80s called and wants their shirt back. That's
Dude, I still feel it's creepy having cameras on your sunglasses because it's such a inconspicuous thing. Like you know, people don't think about it, and it's like, you know, it's like you could take him anywhere. You know, you could. It's just to me, like, I feel like for me, like, they should be like public places where they're automatically disabled, where you just can't take video. Like, because think of it, if you're constantly like walking around and streaming and you're recording that and you're sending them somewhere, you're not getting any permission from any of the people, you know. But
you don't have to now walking. I know it's like more inconspicuous than walking around with a camera, but there's also lots of like, I don't know, sports cameras or whatever that are small you could walk around with.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you're in public, assume you're on Facebook.
Yeah, there's
assume you're being
no
streamed.
two-party consent to anything in public. In some states, there may be. You can record any conversation, especially in most states. It's just one-party consent. So I think it's privacy. Yeah, it's going out the door.
Yeah, it's gone.
Really quickly
it's
here.
Gone.
I was like, didn't that already
it's gone.
leave, though?
This
Yeah.
is
It's
weirder
already
though. Like if everyone's wearing it, and then suddenly Facebook is, they're saying they won't keep it. They are going to keep it for it because it said that it would keep your conversation in context, so it could keep it up for a little while.
Yep.
I'm assuming this is in conjunction with a smartphone of some sort. It looked like it was Instagrammy app thing that was showing you the results of it.
Yeah, but he's hearing that, he's only showing that for the demo purpose. He's actually hearing that in his ear. You don't need the phone. The phone can just be when he showed the phone because he needed to show you what it was saying back because he's just hearing it in his ear.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting those glasses. So for me, like I could go and watch like a new movie in the theater and I could stream it to all my other friends who, let's say, want to chill with me at the movie theater, but they don't have $15 to go. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to buy your ticket, but here, just check it out on Instagram.
So if you do that, I want a 3-camera shoot. I need 3 people in the theater.
Yeah.
Okay, Jerry.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll do the Kramer shoot.
But like if you think of like as technology gets better, like you could literally constantly record and you could remember where you've been, what you've done, and you could probably have a conversation around your day. Like not now, but in the future, that technology is going to exist. And so like it's going to be crazy. But
there's a Black Mirror episode about this where it's not a pair of glasses, it's built in already. It's built into like your hair. I forget what it was. It was like an eye thing or something, but it's built in. And the guy goes for an interview and he rewinds the interview and watches it back.
Yeah.
Like to be like, oh yeah, I didn't get that job and I see why.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of interesting.
Here's the funny part. So like this is way more inconspicuous than like your cell phones. But in Batman, like I think the second one or the third, I don't remember. They created this device which sonar sends signal from every phone and everybody sees everything. This is literally like if everybody has a Ray-Ban glasses, like that means you have like 100% coverage of like the whole world and like people could be anywhere. And so whoever at Meta or whoever has access, remember that story we did not too long ago, how there were cameras where someone could just randomly log into and see what everybody was doing. I forgot what camera it was. The security camera. So it's like whoever has the power to be like, oh, what's user 27B6 doing? Oh, wow, they're having a good time. Probably shouldn't be streaming this. So it's interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman's going to shut it down.
Yeah, exactly. It's too late. And that movie that I mentioned, The Circle, with like cameras everywhere. I mean, I think that movie was to just warn the public that this is exactly what it's going to be.
This is coming.
It's coming.
Exactly
Everybody's
what's
going to
coming
see
in.
everything.
Facebook is controlling it. That's the thing. All the data is filtered through Facebook. That's what I don't really like.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. But there's some big benefits. If you're standing in a meeting and someone says something, it could give you context to that thing or something like that. Or if you're talking to some teenagers and they say slang words, it can tell you what they're saying. Like that.
I'm 100% tempted by this. There's plenty of places that I feel like it would be great. Like, really.
It's good because then I could finally have like straight stories and arguments because I could just rewind and be like, no, this is what you said on that day. Don't even try it.
I can see that being a benefit to marriages. Everywhere. Here's where I told you about this event that we're going to tonight. See it? Yep. See, I told you.
But then you look back and you're like, oh, yeah, now I noticed your eyes did look kind of glazed over.
Yeah.
You weren't listening.
Yeah, you weren't listening.
You're gonna start.
It's fine. You definitely weren't listening.
You're gonna start like all of a sudden dudes just not wearing their like Ray-Ban glasses because they're like, that's like, what are you hiding?
They don't want to be called out.
Yeah, just like, where does your glasses go?
So let's talk about why the Google Play Store is now officially and legally a monopoly.
Oh my goodness.
So the jury in the Epic versus Google case delivered a verdict stating that the Google Play Store and the Google Play billing are now illegal monopolies. Obviously, they'll come back and they'll try and Google will try and push back on that. They'll go for a appeal, and they'll try and appeal that decision. So who knows how that's going to go? But right now, this is the decision that's been made. So it took apparently a couple of hours of deliberation, and they found that Epic proved all of their case points. So basically what happens on here, if you don't know, just to kind of cover this briefly, apps that have over $1 million in revenue on the Google Play Store, they have basically a I don't know what you want to call it. It's not a tax, it's not a penalty, but it's they have to pay 30% of in-app purchases to Google when you reach over $1 million revenue.
And you can't use anything else but Google's in-app. purchase.
No.
What? Right. So, we know that Epic also sued Apple. They have actually lost the same case twice against Apple. They lost the initial ruling and they lost the appeal that they pushed forward after losing the initial ruling. So that's kind of a settled thing at the moment. So here's what saved. Here's the difference, which I thought was insane. The difference is that Apple has a walled garden. The walled garden literally saved them in this case. So it's closed. There are no alternatives on the Apple Store. So what happened with the Google case is they were basically found to have exclusive dealings was one of the big things. One of the big things that actually lost them this case. So they had something called an internal thing called Project Hug. Great name. I love it. It was good. But what Project Hug did,
fuzzy.
It does make me fuzzy. But what Project Hug did was they offered people for exclusivity in their store, including, unfortunately, the people suing them, Epic. They offered them $147 million to launch Fortnite on the Google Play Store exclusively. The fact that there are other app stores available is then what hurts them in this case because there were other alternatives. So they're saying that, hey, you're trying to have an exclusive dealing on the App Store. That's no. Whereas in the Apple case, there is no other. So they're just like, it's us or nobody. Some internal documents then also showed they wanted exclusive content on the Play Store with other people too. They also gave deals to like top 1%. So deals with Netflix and Spotify, for instance, and some Chinese companies, so that they didn't have to pay the 30%, which, I don't know if Apple have done that too, because we've never seen that. My guess is maybe they have, but we've also seen them push back against people like Epic that wanted a lower percentage, right? They're like, we don't want to pay 30, we'll pay 10. They're like, no, you pay 30 just like everybody else does. And one of the bigger things that got them in trouble too was they had a secret revenue sharing agreement with some Chinese OEM phone producers, basically to have them exclusively install the App Store pre-installed and no other app stores on the phone. So it's like it comes with the Play Store. So it's like, oh, this is obviously the store on the phone. So they guess people will just use it and not go for the alternatives. And they gave them secret revenue sharing based on sales, I guess, from the Play Store. Ultimately, Epic is not suing for money in this case. The decisions haven't been made around what their damages are going to be and whether they're going to get damages or not. But they want to change the way this whole thing works, I guess, versus get paid. Although they'll probably get paid too, is my guess. So Sarah, thoughts? I know you have some.
As the resident legal analyst.
Yes, please.
So the other big difference between the Apple case and the Google case is that the Google case went to a jury and the Apple case was only decided by a judge. Correct. So Bobby's like, yes. So that's the big, I think, differentiator here. I don't think it has anything to do with how the Apple App Store works or how the Google Play Store works. They work exactly the same, honestly. And I think the big differentiator here is the jury versus a judge who can be paid off or whatever. Not saying any judges were being paid off, but, or maybe the judge is an Apple fanboy. Who knows? Anyway, but the interesting part about this, from my perspective, is I work for a company who does have an app, and we have a subscription as part of the app. We were threatened to be removed from both Google Play Store and the Apple App Store if we didn't use their payment processor to process our subscriptions. So, we could be removed from both Apple and Google if we don't use their payment processor. And the same thing is happening with Kindle. You can't buy a Kindle book inside. If you open your Kindle app on your phone, you can't buy a book in there because it would force you to use the payment processor. Vudu movies, if I'm buying it on my phone, it requires me to go through the Google Play Store. If I'm buying it on the computer, I can use whatever payment I want. So from this perspective, I hate that they force that. I think if you have an app, you should be able to use whatever payment processor you want, with that. And that's what Epic is arguing for. They're basically arguing for all of the little guys here that want to not have to pay the 30% fee to Apple or to Google and just process our subscriptions ourselves. So I mean, I get where Epic is coming from on this, but I'm against Google and Apple. Like, I think they both need to be punished the same with this case. They might have a good appeal for the Apple case using this as case law. So hopefully that kind of continues that conversation. But I would love to see more apps be able to use their own payment processor.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? But I think like the thing is though that the Apple argument that there is no alternative is the thing that saved them. Sure. That is the thing. It's like the fact that they do have this walled garden and there is no alternative for somebody to even choose. And that's a bigger question, right? The fact that there isn't one is a bigger question. But
I'm like, that would be more of a monopoly in my eyes.
Well, but don't forget, monopolies aren't illegal. In essence, like a monopoly isn't illegal. There are only illegal versions of a monopoly. So while the Apple ecosystem is a monopoly, I don't think anybody will tell you any different that it isn't. It is, but it is a legal version of one. Whereas in this case, they're saying that the Google one isn't. It's an illegal version because of really the exclusive dealings and these special contracts they were given and these prices they were giving. It's crazy that that's the way it's played out. You would have thought this would totally be the other way around. One being an open system, one being a closed system, and the closed one not being an illegal monopoly, and the open one being an illegal monopoly is kind of crazy.
I think if it had went to a jury, Apple would have lost.
I
don't think so.
100% with Bobby. No, I agree with Bobby.
I don't think so, because I think the legal standing is because there isn't this alternative. Maybe they would have lost on a different ground. I don't know, but they would not have lost on the same ground as this case because of that reason alone. Because there is no alternative on the phone. The only reason Google lost is because there is an alternative, and they tried to stop people from pushing their apps to those alternatives by paying them off. Apple isn't doing that. Apple didn't try and pay anybody off to say you're going to be. They're just saying no, it's our store or nothing. It's a different argument, and I don't think it's legally the same reason that Google lost.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you're probably right. I mean, that's probably the devil's in the details of all these court case.
Court cases.
Not
we know.
We know what Bobby's
he's like, oh god,
working on a course.
Someday soon, Kennedy will be done.
Yeah. But I agree, we need more options. I mean, I would, from a consumer perspective, it'd be great to have options. I know why Apple has their walled garden for a lot of reasons. Security, like, is the biggest thing that they push, and it's like, and I get that. Having used both, and from a store perspective, I've told this story plenty of times, but my experience on the Google side of an app stores on the Android device was disgusting. It was the worst experience I've ever had versus the Apple store. And I'll tell you, I don't know if I told you this story, Sarah, but there was a game that came out.
I'm like, I haven't heard this story, but it sounds ridiculous. Okay. So thank you.
Here you go. There was a game that came out. It was, you remember the game 2048? It was like one of these numbers games where you had to like take a number and you kept halving it.
Yeah.
Okay,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
At the time I had an Android phone. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to go grab that from the store. I go to the Play Store, I type in 2048, 50 options show up.
Sure.
Okay. The 15th one on the list was the real one, was the actual, the other was just junk, absolute fake rubbish. I go to the App Store on my iPad, there's one option, the real version of the app. There's no other junk there. That for me immediately sold me on it. I'm just like, I need that curated experience. I don't want to download somebody's like phishing app because they see it's big this week. And, and the real app didn't even bubble to the top. That was what was most disturbing. Like, it wasn't even the first option. It was way down the list. It was like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that. I'm done. That was me done with it. That was the final straw for me. And I traded it.
Yeah, I guess Android users are just smart enough to know which one's real and which one's not.
I don't need to be. I don't want to waste my time. That's the way I look at it.
We don't like being told what to do.
But
tell me. I'm all about that. No, I like that experience. I like they just give me the best. Tell me what I need to do. Tell me the original one. I don't want to go hunt for something and get.
But like, I was just going to say, there's a lot of like, okay, if this is the thing made by the real company and the Apple Store, like, is great, but they still have a lot of like crappy apps on the App Store as well. Yeah.
Oh, they do.
But in terms of the official apps, yeah, it's hard to find. Like,
yeah, you don't get like, what you don't get is you don't get go on there and look for like Instagram, and the first app on there is going to be Instagram. I don't know what it looks like on an Android, so I can imagine though. So like, I just don't want to have to deal with that. So I just choose not to. But yeah. Yeah, we'll see. More options better though, I guess. But we'll see whether ultimately maybe they get forced into having multiple app stores from an Apple perspective. But the Google side of things, obviously they can't do this stuff around paying people off and these kind of like secret revenue deals and things like that. That's what's really bit them. I get it. They want to be the primary app store and they thought they're doing what is correct. But
what's interesting, all this like talk about App Store, the Android store, that just causes so much anxiety that for my app that I'm building, which is for mobile, like I'm building it as a PWA, which is basically a web app, just because like I don't want to deal with like Apple Store drama and like whatever. Plus, like there's too many roadblocks. Like right now, I want to get some test users, and I just want it to be easy. So this way, I could just send them the link, and they could just use it, and you get similar experience. You know, maybe you don't have all the native features, but it's fine. You know, so
you can do a lot with the PWA these days, right?
You can, yeah, especially with Blazor.
Tell us more. What is this Blazor thing? I hear there's something coming soon.
The main thing I would just want is, can we just come up with better names for both stores? Because anytime I'm like communicating with a customer, I always have to say like the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Like, it's so long. Can we just come up with a name for either of them? Because I can't just say the App Store, because then they might think I'm just talking about Apple. And I can't just say the Google Play Store, because then like leaves out the Apple. So I have to say the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Like, that is this long.
You're like, just go download the app. Get it wherever you want. Like,
interesting thing I heard. I don't know if it's true, but they were saying that like the apps downloaded from Apple Store and Google Store have been in decline. And I don't know if it's true, because I'm always downloading stuff. Like, but I'm kind of curious, like, if that has any truth to it. That there,
I don't know. I haven't heard that. Maybe we'll look
the
at that
apps are like
interesting.
Just year to year, less people are hesitant, and I'm like, that's not true. But
well, I think it depends on the age bracket, because like the teenagers these days, they will hop on the latest trend so fast. And it was really evident. There was an app coming up like a few weeks, maybe like a month or two ago, called Laps. And it jumped like straight to the top of the downloads list. They did some kind of like shady things to get to the top of the list. But like all the kids were talking about it and asking their parents to download it. And I'm looking at the app and I'm like, oh my gosh, the kids are going to be sick of this in about 2 days. Because what it does is like if you take a picture, it doesn't allow you to see the picture you took until like later in the day. And I'm like, they're not going to tolerate that. Like, you know, because they want it to be like the experience like we had as kids, where I had to like go take it to the 1 hour photo to see what pictures I took.
Stupid idea.
That is
It's such a stupid idea.
Hey, Bobby, it hit the top of the App Store.
I know,
Stupid
it's
idea.
still stupid though.
I agree, but
so I had friends asking, like, you know, their kids were asking to download it. I look it up and I'm like, oh, this is going to last like a week. You know, I'm like, so you can allow it or not. They're not going to use it for very long because it's so ridiculous. And I'm like, yeah, no, the kids are not going to tolerate that. But how many kids like downloaded it during that week? It's so many. But then they like delete it right away. I mean, I don't even know if they delete it. They just stopped using it. But like I said, so I think it depends on the age range of the person as to whether or not they're like downloading apps frequently or not.
I think me and Paul should build an app. You take a picture and you have to go to a Walmart to get it.
I think so. That's such a good idea.
Hold on. No. So you geofence the Walmart and you got to enter the Walmart on your phone, and then the photo shows up on your phone.
It shows the picture then.
I like it.
Yeah, that's good.
I like it. Imagine the stores could jump on too, so you could brand them. You could do Target, and then you jump into Target and there's a Target frame around it. Like, man, look at it. I got mine developed at Target. Look. There you go. And it's like a Target thing around it.
Got a Target
filter
filter
around
it.
I do have an idea. Like, because with the Adobe stuff where you could add like stuff in the image that doesn't exist, because I live a very boring life and I want to feel like I have more excitement. Why not create an app where you put a theme and you take a picture, like a selfie of yourself, and it's me by myself, like in my bathroom crying, but in reality you see all these people backstage and like it's a party and I'm crying because I'm having so much fun and it's the greatest time ever, and then I could share. That's an app idea right there for
These are the dumbest, greatest app ideas ever. We may have to cut this part because somebody's going to run off and make these. Next week, we're going to cover the App Store. It's going to be this. Exactly.
The Walmart app. The Walmart
photo app.
Get your photos developed at Walmart. They're asking their parents, hey, can we go to Walmart? I got to see these pictures I took on my phone.
I love that idea. It's so stupid it could work.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it's going to work.
Apparently.
100%. 100% is going to work.
100%. Yeah. And then you can get all like bougie, you know, like if you got yours developed at like Walmart, then like, you know, you're kind of the bottom of the barrel. But if you got yours developed at like Nordstrom.
Exactly. You know, imagine all the big stores you could sign onto this thing. It's bringing people into the stores, right? I mean, you got to think this is a good idea.
Yeah, it's true. And the kids are dumb enough to do it, so it's perfect.
Yeah, I need the McDonald's frame.
McDonald's frame.
Like,
you
know,
collect them all. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Like Pokemon.
Okay, so earlier this week, there was a big game release that you may or may not have heard about. It's called The Day Before. And basically it was a hot new release. Loads of people were talking about this. Lots of streamers talking about it, lots of industry people talking about it. It's been anticipated for a long time. This has been a video game that's been in development for 5 years. Okay. It was pitched as an open world, online zombie MMO. That was the kind of the thing. It's like, wow, it's like this massive thing. And it's like all these zombies. And it's like, wow, it's cool. And they had a trailer a while ago too that was like super cool. Looked very interesting. Many actually thought this was going to be vaporware. They thought this was never, ever going to come out, right? And then, boom, December 7th comes around. It got released. It got put on Steam. The early access release on Steam for $39. Like, wow, okay. People started playing it. I actually saw some people on YouTube that day playing it, and I was like, oh, interesting. That game came out that people talked about. They're like, it was never going to come out, and people were playing it. Interesting. So then what happened? It was live on the Steam store for 4 days. The developer then put a post on Twitter on December 11th saying that they are shutting down the studio. And they said, here was the reason. Unfortunately, The Day Before has failed financially, and we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. Steam then delisted the game, making it no longer for sale. But in that time, it sold 201,000 copies, right? That is $7.8 million it took in, okay? in those days. $7.8 million it took in. Yeah, so here's the problem. Steam's so they've said they're not supporting this game anymore. At some point, the servers will shut down. It's just done, right? This game is dead. There'll be no updates for this. Steam has a 14-day return policy, which is great, right? You're within the window. But it also has a 2-hour play return policy. If you played it more than 2 hours, yep, you're out of luck. So here's the thing. This game, a lot of people have accused this game maker of kind of stuffing the first part of the game, if you will, with unnecessary things to do that take you, guess what, a couple of hours to kind of get through, right? Before you kind of reach the main game. Especially, it takes about an hour or so from what I read to do like these little things to get you like acclimatized to the game and whatever. So they said it's kind of designed in a way to go past this 2-hour window. So it's got some problems here in the fact that people thought it was going to be vaporware. It probably should never have come out. I think what people are accusing them of now is obviously a cash grab, right? They knew they were going to go out of business. They knew this wasn't going to work. They put the game out anyway. They designed it in a way to get past the 2 hours, to take the $7 million and basically walk away. That's kind of the accusation with this. Here's some other things about it. So it wasn't an open world MMO. It was just a lot of people have labeled it as a poor man's extraction shooter. Smaller map, was never had any like MMO elements to it. It never had any like character building or anything. It was just a kind of a lame put together game. It was made with Unity using apparently almost exclusively stock assets. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they basically just went and bought all of these assets from the Unity store, put together this game with bare minimum kind of effort and pushed it out. And people clearly don't like that. Somebody on Reddit actually went and Reddit user cataloged them all. He listed them all out, like, yeah, we bought this one for this one, this one. So he listed every single asset in the game as like totaled how much it cost them or whatever. Super interesting. A lot of those assets too became available within the last year, which was another interesting point because this game's apparently been in development for 5 years now. So a lot of the stuff that was done here, these assets were put into in the last year. because they're not that old. So they could tell that it was a newer game. They also got accused of copying lots of other games, The Division being one of them in style and marketing. They basically just ripped off everything. So the accusation here is the entire thing was just a cash grab. It was never ever going to be a real game. They threw together a bunch of developers. They threw together just trying to have a money grab. They never intended this to ever be a game. And they threw out this kind of like half a product, which for a couple of hours looks like it's a real game until you actually get into it and realize it's actually it's bugged and it's terrible and it's never going to go anywhere. And it's just a terrible version. It's now one of the 10 worst reviewed games of all time on Steam, by the way. So it's bottom of the barrel.
One zombie.
Yeah. Well, what happens
killing
is
that dude over and over again.
I did watch some of the gameplay earlier, and it's like, yeah, the zombies in the trailer, there was loads of them chasing you and stuff. This one, like one shows up every like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because like, it's like they don't. Yeah, it was such a weird thing. Here's the thing, though. Steam have said, and the publisher have said, who's different than the developer. The publisher and Steam have said that they will refund anyone who asks. They've had a 46% refund on this game so far, which still leaves them with over $3 million.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I mean, yes, they've had to refund $3 million, but it still leaves them with over $3 million in sales that they've had to keep so far. So, I mean, I guess it didn't work out bad for them. So
I guess
Paul, would you play this? Did you buy this?
They can say they'll do it, but someone needs to follow up to see if they actually do it. I think he's walking away with the bag.
Before I answer your question, hold on a second. Hey, Joe, I got this idea. Like, you know how we missed the crypto thing? Like, listen to this. Let's buy a bunch of assets on the asset store, pay someone on Fiverr to make a game that will release. And here's the thing. Like, we need to make sure that the first 2 hours is just a bunch of stories. So people just listen, like because it counts like they're playing the game. So then Steam can't give them a refund. And we'll charge them like, what, $40? Even if we have to refund 50%, we're still gonna. Good idea. All right, yeah. So here's the thing, like,
yep. No, imagine that is the precedence. This is set.
The crazy part. What you just described to me, I think like the person had to be a mastermind scammer. And so there's two scenarios I see: is a mastermind scammer who like thought of this. I'm sure maybe there's somewhere in the middle, but maybe like it's like to think through this process of like, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna create this thing, but it's going to be a big scam. We're going to 4 days later, we'll just say we can't repay our debt and we'll just close the company, but we'll just keep whatever profits we stole. And I think like to what realistically happened, I think this team wanted to make a game and then they realized they bit off more than they could chew. They started like feeling the pressure from like people being like, hey, this is going to be another vaporware. This game is fake. And on the pressure, like, man, we got to build something, we got to release. And then, they realize this is not going to happen. And then like the financial team, they're like, well, we got to figure out how we could recoup like time invested. So what can we release? What can we do? And they just did the math and it's like, listen, yeah, we messed up, but at the same time, let's figure out how we could benefit from our mess up and not care because we're going to close our company. You know what I mean? It's like, I think but it's shameful that companies are able to do that. You know what I mean? It's just like, because it does set a bad precedent. Because now I want to make a bad game.
It's not the first time this has happened.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that come out.
People pay for games before they're built all the time. I don't understand why people do this. Like my son has paid for multiple games, in the pre-release. Famously, I bought Minecraft on pre-release. That my kid when he was 8 or 7 or whatever said, I got to have Minecraft. I'm like, why are we buying this Doom graphics game? What are we doing? How much
Doom graphics.
Hey, it did pretty well.
Amazing.
It did pretty well. I was wrong on that one.
All right.
But a lot of times you'll see this, it's in pre-release or, by the, early access, which isn't a real game, and people pop down $21 and they'll buy them. These guys that are on Steam, they collect games.
I mean, there's some like companies like the company that like Hello Games, I think they made No Man's Sky, which had terrible start, but then they just stayed committed to the project and the game became amazing. You could say the same thing about Cyberpunk. Came out like trash. I still bought it because to me it's still amazing in its broken state either. But now like it's been a while and they fixed it. And it's like, so there's a trend where people go to market quickly with what they can. And maybe it's because there's, you have your pressure from the investors that you have to meet certain deadlines, and you kind of said like, hey, we're going to release it in this state, but at least we're going to stay committed to make it better. But that like quickly devolves to what we have here is like, you know what, we're just not going to try. And we're just going to buy these assets from the store. We're going to say, like, what the hell were they doing for 5 years? Like, what were they doing? Like, what were they doing?
Not real. They weren't doing anything.
They were working.
They were
You know what it is? The trailer.
It's called the long
the
con.
trailer.
It's called
The
long
trailer
con.
took him 5 years to make, and the game only took some dude 20 minutes on Reddit, not Reddit, on Fiverr. Like, because I'm sure they like subcon, but that just sucks. Like, to me, like as a game developer, I think like your goal should be like to make a game that you're gonna know people gonna like to play, and you just wanna like you're gonna be happy it brings somebody else's happiness. But nowadays everything is so geared towards profit, And there's a guy I think is called the Blue Drake. He has a YouTube channel. He got a lot of flack, but he wanted to kind of showcase that, hey, like you don't need to be a scammy company to make like a AAA game. And so he made an open source free game called Operation Doorstop. It's like a army sim game, like shooting and stuff, with just the community to kind of showcase, hey, like you don't need to go out of your way to profit optimize, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. And what was like the most interesting things I heard, like I've heard people start making a game that's like for desktop, and then they're like, wait a second, there's so many mobile games, they're generating so much more money than our desktop will ever make, that they scratch that project and then just make a bunch of stupid mobile games. And it's just like, I mean, money wins, but us as people that enjoy video games, like we suffer. And what's crazy to me, like you said, like why are people dealing with it? Why they're buying early access games, and every time they're getting disappointed, but they still spend their money the next game comes out. It's like it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, I think early access, the term just was invented so that they could push out half-finished games, because I think people were doing that anyway. They just now label them kind of like as, hey, it's kind of half-finished. It's early access, right? And it's still in this case $40. There's some like AAA games that come out
like the last Call of Duty was half-finished.
Well, every Call of Duty in the last like 6 years probably.
The
last Battlefield game
every year.
was just, it's been
every
bad
year
for a year.
Yeah,
exactly. The last Battlefield game was just like broken at launch.
Like what's funny to me, it's like this strategy wouldn't work in any other like industry. Like you can't get like early access half a sandwich or early access half a haircut. You know what? Early access haircut today. What am I going to do? I'm just going to go here. That's it. And then, it's what, but with games, it's like, oh my God. And I've like been like I've seen all these cool projects. I was like, oh, this is going to be a cool game. Let me support the developer, like buy the early access. And then now like on Steam, I have this thing that I paid for. You can't play it at all. Like it just like doesn't work. The server's down. And it's the fact that the day before, it's like, it's one of many. It just happened to be the one that got a lot of more publicity because they had like a bigger reach and a lot more people bought the game. And so it's like a big story. But there's so many games on Steam where like people spend their money on and they ended up being nothing. Like,
Yeah. It's like it's acceptable now to put out a AAA game that isn't finished. At least for the first year, it cannot be finished, and people are still accepting of it, and will still then buy the next version of it. It's insane that that's the case, but that's where we are. That's how it is now.
So I'm not
go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not a gamer, and so like what I don't understand is how they got 200,000 people to buy this game. Like
because it was
so
marketing and hype. Marketing and hype.
Like
marketing.
How did they get that kind of marketing for a game that's not finished? That's like blows my mind.
It's much easier to create a trailer than a whole game. So you could go on like whatever Unity or whatever they use, Unreal, and create these amazing trailers that just look crazy and get people so hyped up. And there was like a trend, I guess, like a lot of people doing it on Kickstarter, creating these trailers for games, getting the money, and then being like, oh, we just couldn't do it for some unknown reason. But
Realistically,
Kevin could go make an amazing trailer right now, I bet.
But,
exactly.
But it's just, I think the reason why they keep doing that stuff is because they know the public, like, yeah, they'll be upset, but it's not going to stop them from making some sort of profit. There's like, and that's kind of crazy. That's crazy. I remember like back in the day, I think Sony PlayStation 3 or 4, I forgot, like they made this game Killzone 2 and they had this showcase, which was like so amazing that you couldn't believe, like, wow, is this how the it's like totally fake. The game still was like okay, but not as great. And it's just like, it's like a normal.
Well, that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. The trailer was nothing like the game when it came out. Well, the game was okay, and it did look pretty good, because the assets in the Unity store, by the way, now, and the base game that you can start with is pretty impressive. It really is. It really is. You can make a game within hours now, a first-person shooter game,
Unreal
using a base game and some assets you bring in, spend a few $100s, bring some assets in, boom, you've got a game. Like, it's insane.
But what Sarah asked, how does this happen? It's because of games like Destiny. Destiny's only like really massive multiplayer online shooter. They call them looter shooters. And if someone made another one, it would make $2 billion. And so these guys went out and said, hey, we can make something like this, but throw in zombies. I'm there.
Right.
Dude, but
so like, and then they'll all buy it.
That's all you have to
It's
say.
just not real. So,
No, you're right. The idea of the game is great. Like, everything about it, you're like, wow. And this is the thing, you're like, I really want to play that game that you're telling me about. I want to play that, just that you're not going to deliver it to me. You're going to give me something else, like bait and switch.
Right.
Does it use the Unreal engine?
This
was
Unity.
Unity. I thought it was
I know, I'm
yeah.
just saying, like, Unreal, it sounds perfect for the game.
This was built with Unity assets.
Okay,
Store assets.
Right.
I thought they were
It was a
using
joke.
Unreal.
Unreal. Not real.
It's not real. Oh, I got you now. All right.
I'm like, it was a joke. I wasn't really saying it.
My guess is this developer, Fantastic, which, by the way, I don't know why it doesn't have an A in it. This name, their name is FNTASTIC. I don't know why they dropped the A. I don't know.
Because they
There's probably
couldn't
some
get the
hidden
domain
meaning
for
there.
the A.
That's probably exactly it, Sarah. Yeah. Which should have been a sign from the beginning, like, these guys aren't serious. My guess is the people who are behind this will just show up with a new company,
100%.
and they'll do the same thing with another game and make another $3
Somebody
million.
pointed out that even though their company closed, like, they still have 7 previous games that they made. They're still listed on Steam that people could still buy. So they're still like making profit from those other games. Like,
I think this was intentional. I don't believe we tried as hard as we could.
We tried.
They knew that before they released it. Then,
of course they did. They knew 4 days before, right?
Yeah.
They knew the company was going to close 4 days later. What did they think? Some miracle was going to happen? They'd sell more than 200,000 copies? Like, that wasn't enough? Like,
here's the thing, and it's like,
it's
we don't
crazy.
have money to, like, you may, let's say, like, if people did not request refunds, like, so, like, it would be tons of money for them to continue to develop and continue to, like, try to fix it. Like, they have some sort of income, and if they really cared about the product, I'm sure they could have, like, done something to continue to make it better. Like, I mean, like, Hello Games did it. Other companies, like, did it where they just believed in their game, that they were like, you know what, we want to bring it to the end. And the fact that they're just like, no, we're closing the studio down conveniently, it's like it
shows you their intention from the beginning.
It's 2 hours for now refund. Okay, how many days do we need to give before we close our company? 4 days. Okay, 4 days.
Right.
And it's like, because then it's like, it becomes like, I'm sure it's from legal standpoint, like, if you close your company due to financial thing, maybe you absolve some sort of risk where you don't have to. Exactly. And so whatever, everything is a loss, but you, like, the people involved, like, got away with, like, a good chunk of money.
they're also not in the U.S., which makes it another problem for people who haven't recorded.
And I'm sure over those 5 years, they were paying themselves salaries too, which is just something you're never ever going to see, right? That just for whatever. I don't know who the investors were, but they have to be annoyed too, because it didn't come out of nowhere. Let's talk about our null and not nulls for this week. I know Sarah's got a null. So what is it, Sarah?
I do. So the best thing to come out of COVID is the fact that every restaurant became a drive-through. That was like the best part of the pandemic, right? So I always, like, I'm not a DoorDash person. Like, I will I can drive myself and save the, like, exorbitant fees to get DoorDash, but I will order it online and then go pick it up. Right. So I will be at my house, I'll order it. And then by the time I get to the restaurant, it's there and I pick it up and I go. Right. So just this week, I placed an order for a restaurant here called Costa Vida. They're places around here, but like I think they're more than just Utah.
What kind of food is it?
It's Mexican food, like
okay.
Yeah, it's like burritos and tacos and things like that.
Yep.
Anyway, so I placed the order on my app. And then I go to the store to pick it up. And like it said 7:34 when I could come pick it up, right? Which is way late for dinner for me anyway. But anyway, so I go to the restaurant. I get there at like 7:30, right? I'm standing there. They're like, oh, it's not ready yet. I'm like, 7:34. I give you a pass for not being ready yet. But I see who's like in line to just get their food and, kind of mark where they're at, right? So few people, DoorDash people come through. A lady comes through and she's waiting there for a little while. And I just ask her, I was like, what time did you place your order on the app? I'm just curious, and hers was like, oh, I placed it at like 7:20. I placed mine at like 7:09,
Okay.
And she goes up and she finds her food and leaves. And I'm still watching the line. The line cycles through like 3 times in the half an hour that I'm standing there,
you're so patient,
not getting my food until 8 p.m. And I'm like, if I'm going to place an order online, how is it that my order is not getting processed before all of these other orders? So somebody needs to figure out what is wrong with your online ordering process if that is the situation. So anyway, I'm very upset with that Costa Vida's online.
I do think the inline ordering system is different than the online ordering system.
I get that for sure. But it was the same people. He had the tickets. I could see where my ticket was.
Well, this is what I was going to say.
Making my food, because it goes on the line. They make the food on the line, there where the customers are.
This is what I was going to say. They turn a digital process into a physical process, and that's where it breaks down, right?
Yes.
So you take the digital order, but they don't see it. It's not like McDonald's where they see it on the screen and they have to fulfill it. No. It prints a ticket. As soon as it becomes a ticket in the physical world, now you're just like, now anything can happen.
Because they didn't start my order. Finally, they came back over, what was your name again? I go over and I see him pick up my ticket and then move it to the front again. And they start making my order at 7:50.
Oh my
that's when they started my order. And I'm you have got to be kidding me.
This is the problem. If you own a restaurant, please keep your ordering system fully digital. Don't go digital to manual, because it's just this is where the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah, when they're picking up tickets and moving them around, no, just look at the times that the tickets were ordered and put them in that order.
Yeah, it's so funny working at the restaurant. You get a bunch of. I'll give you some insight. There's people wondering. You get a bunch of tickets, and you're like, what is the easier thing to make? And then you rearrange it based on how easy the thing is to make. And so when you get a massive order, you're like, screw this. Hopefully by the time I get to the store, this is my time to go home anyway. And some poor bum is gonna so that's a thing. That's why you should have digital thing that people can't reorder. But I've done it so many times because it gets called optimizing to make easier things faster. So then you could spend more time on. Or just not spend.
So Sarah, how big was your order? How many plates?
I have the receipt right here.
How big was it?
Because
look at that receipt.
Yeah.
Look at that receipt.
100% what I just said. 100%. 100%. You ordered.
You can't order that online.
Here's the part of my order. Okay.
Okay, that's doable.
So it's 3 pork tacos, a cheese quesadilla, a chicken quesadilla, a pork salad, and a chicken quesadilla.
But still, if someone had 1 taco and 2 tacos, that's easier to make, and you probably would rearrange.
Yeah. Paul's making the 1 taco orders first. Yours is going bottom of the pile.
Right. And then it was wrong because I have no guacamole on my salad, and they put guacamole on my salad.
It's so okay. Another one. Here's another one. So when you are listen,
order by
this
number,
is all
baby.
allegedly. So you might have like
Allegedly.
customers that put like big orders, right? And they're just like, and you're like, man, like they really like this restaurant. They always order big orders. So sometimes you just get their order wrong with the thought that they're just going to go so fed up that they'll never come back here because you don't own the restaurant. You just work there, like allegedly. So
They're never coming back here.
dude, but
I imagine that happens a lot.
Yeah, because I'm not going back to that.
yeah,
place
so
either.
some line cook at a restaurant was like a mission accomplished. It's terrible. It's
Not
terrible.
coming
'Cause
back.
that's the worst thing you want. The worst thing I hate when you go to a place, to a restaurant, and they ask you, "What was your name again?" Like it's like,
Yeah.
because what that
3
means, like they
times.
have no idea, and what that means is that they're like, "Oh shit, we lost the ticket." And then they'll be like, hey, ask her what was on the order. And then you like repeat what the order is, and someone's jotting it down.
And then they're like-
exactly. And then they make it. And I think they missed the guacamole not being, because that's also a thing. It's like so much. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
I was so
So-
angry.
So you've also got a not know this week, Sarah. What's your
I do.
happy shiny
Okay.
thing this week?
Yeah. So see, I'm not always an angry person. I do like playing board games with my family, and since Christmas is coming up, and so I don't know if you have ever played this game, Cover Your Assets, but it is so much fun, and it's really easy to pick up and learn. And here's like the even funner. I can speak words. The most fun part about this particular game, because we actually liked this game, and then they released, like they redid all the art and re-released it. But when they re-released it, the art is actually from my he was a groomsman at my wedding.
Nice.
He's like one of my husband's like best friends.
Wow.
It's like, oh my gosh.
So Greg drew this? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Greg drew it. No, yeah. So Andrew Bosley art, like he was
Okay.
the groomsman
So
at my
cool.
wedding.
Nice.
Lives in California, but anyway, so we already had the game, so we rebought
Get
the
the new
game
art.
because
Nice.
of the art.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. So you have some cards in your hand, and you're playing matches. And so if I have a match of like cars, then I can put that down on my pile. Well, if I have cars in my hand and you just put cars down on your pile, I can say like, hey, how about those cars? And I can steal your cars. Or if you have another car in your hand, you can say like, how about them? And like you can defend your cars. And so like at the end of the game, whoever's pile has the most money in it wins,
All right.
Okay.
It's super fun. Like everybody gets like really into it. And especially like when a pile like starts growing a lot, then everybody is like trying to get that pile, or like you have a big pile of cars and then you put like jewelry on top of it. So then somebody's like, hey, if you have jewelry, get her jewelry so we can get those cars back, And so it's just a really fun game.
So there's no crypto involved in this?
No crypto
Okay.
whatsoever.
Okay. Good to know.
Although here's the funny thing, like, so I'm a cookie connoisseur, and the crumble is from around here. So I don't know if you guys have crumble.
Right beside a crumble. It's like literally
The
walking.
Coda Foundry office is like attached to a crumble.
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic, because they also have a branded version of Cover Your Assets. It's Cover Your Cookies, but
Wow.
it's the same game.
I like
Go,
that.
Bobby, go next door and see if they have that.
I'm going to see if they'll give me one. So yeah, I'll go next door and see if they have the game.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I haven't tried their
I don't
ice
think my
cream
friend
yet.
Andrew did the art on this one, but
I'm going to try their ice cream. I haven't tried that. I always get the cookie.
yeah.
They always look good when you go in.
I'm waiting for the ginger snap to come out. Like, I think it'll be next week. The ginger snap is so good.
Just text me and I'll tell you if it's there.
Well, I look at
'Cause
the
you can
app
just- you
every,
can just look
every
through it.
Monday.
I see it.
I look
You
at the
smell
app
them.
every Monday. I don't know what you're
Oh,
talking
that's
about.
funny. That was actually one of my things that I said when we were moving into this building that's right next to a crumble. I was like, Bobby, this could be a problem.
Yeah.
What if you can smell the cookies? Like,
Yeah.
what if you?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
it's literally
that's a problem.
attached. It's the roof is attached. I was like, what if you can smell the cookies and you're gonna you just gonna want to go next door all the time
All
and
the
get the
time.
Yeah.
cookies? It's gonna be a problem.
And they
Thankfully,
were
you
like
can't
sitting
smoke.
in the parking lot at like 9:30 in the morning buying cookies. It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
why are you buying cookies in the morning? But they're open.
Right.
Like, kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Delicious.
They are.
Okay, I have a null this week as well. I have a null and a not null, so I'm just gonna go next. My null this week. So I have an electric car. I have a Volkswagen ID4. It is a fully electric car. It's cool. It's good. It's a nice car.
What?
But
You don't have a Tesla? I am shocked.
No. I intentionally do not have a
I know.
Tesla.
I'm totally kidding. As much as you love Elon, like you don't have a Tesla?
Yes. If I did, I would have sold it. That's all I can say. Actually, I would have smashed it. No, but I have I have an ID4. It's an all-wheel drive, all electric car. It's cool, but it's basically like all other electric cars, right? They're basically software with 4 wheels, right? It's kind of with a battery in it. So the software is kind of important, and the software in this car is not the best. And there is one thing in particular in this software that is the most annoying thing ever, and it gets updates every so often, and they just over-the-air updates and the software updates. But there is a setting in there that is around seat adjustments. So what can happen is when you turn off the ignition to your car, your seat pushes back slightly so you can get out of the car. And then when you get in, it pulls up slightly to your steering wheel. This setting, every time a software update happens, resets. I shut it off. I don't like the feature. It's dumb. The seat never resets to the same spot, which is the first problem with it. It never goes to exactly the same spot you had it at. So it's so annoying because it's like just a little bit off. But what happens is every time it does a software update, it turns this stupid feature back on again. So every other week, my seat just starts moving randomly when I get in the car. And I have to go into the settings, which is 4 menus deep, and turn this damn thing off every time. And I have no idea why. Like, it's the one thing that resets. And I'm just like, I get you want me to use your feature, but I don't like it. That's why you have the option to turn it off. And I keep having to turn it off every time. So annoying. That's my null for this week.
It's like my husband's car. We have 2 Jeep Grand Cherokees. One's mine and one's his. But his has the auto stop, like when you're stopped at a stoplight and it kills the engine. He hates that, but he has to turn it off every single time he gets in the car.
Oh yeah, that's a feature in some cars, isn't it? Every time you have to hit that button to say yeah. That's a terrible way to do it.
Right? Like if I want to turn it off, just let me turn it off.
Yeah. Okay, my not know for this week though, something that actually just came out today that I haven't had a chance to actually play with yet, but on the Quest 3, they finally launched the Xbox Cloud Gaming app. So this basically allows you to play Xbox with a controller on your Quest 3. So you put your Quest 3 on, you basically have a 200-inch screen a couple of feet from you, and you can play with an Xbox controller and stream Xbox games to your Quest 3. It's very cool. I've played it on, so you can play it on your phone and stuff too. Yeah. Cloud gaming works on your phone, works on your iPad. So you can play AAA games on your phone or your iPad, but now also on your Quest with a controller. And have this basically giant screen in front of you, like a giant projection screen. Definitely gonna give it a shout tonight. It came out like 2 hours ago, so I've been waiting for this thing to come out. But yeah, it looks very cool. Okay, who wants to go next? Bobby, you're next on my list.
I don't really have much today. I have a null and a not null. It's the same item, depending on how you do it. I bought a lottery ticket today for $2 for 500 million. So, I don't know if that's a null or a not null. I don't know if people think less of me because of it.
We'll find out.
But
stay tuned.
But I am curious if you rocking the twin sticks on the big Quest. I like that.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah.
We don't have.
Yours will be a null or not null tomorrow.
Yeah. We don't have lottery here in Utah.
Why?
Oh, wow. Not at all.
Not at all.
It's such an upstanding thing.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because we were in California. My sister and I were in California for our niece's wedding. And my sister was like, oh, I want to buy scratchers for my kids for the stocking stuffers. And all, she didn't bring cash on the trip, because who has cash? And she, quickly realized that you can't buy them with a card. And so she's scrambling to try and figure out how to get cash to buy these scratchers. I'm like, I think I've had some cash for some reason. I'm like, I can give you some cash or whatever. But she bought scratchers and she's so excited to give them to her kids because we don't have them here. So, She's like, this Christmas, maybe they can get like thousands of dollars or maybe nothing.
Nice.
Who knows?
More like 2 minutes of
yeah.
entertainment.
Exactly.
Speaking of scams, like anything you buy with cash only. Only cash. It's like, lottery tickets only cash. Why? You know? Scam.
Can you use only cash in the Play Store? I don't think so.
Right. Or a Steam.
And that's now, exactly. And that's now an illegal monopoly. So, you know, I mean,
So oddly enough, I think your sister or whoever's onto something. Last year for Christmas, we have our family gathering, and I'm always responsible for building out the game. And I bought, I think it was like $300 of scratchers.
Oh, wow.
And I wrapped them in saran wrap, and I made a giant ball with it.
Oh, fun.
And you had to pass it around, and you had to wrap it.
Yeah.
But the person beside you, if they rolled double dice, they got the ball.
Oh.
So if you got doubles, you had to pass it. But anyone else that didn't have it, and I had these big foam dice, it was kind of fun. But I think of the $300 I spent on scratchers, I think the payout among everybody was like $12.
wow.
It was fun
Big
though.
spender.
It was kind of fun though. I spent all the money, but like, you know, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I play the regular, like, whatever it is, the Powerball or the Mega Millions lottery, because we get both of those here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Whenever it's above like $500 million,
this is it.
I'll buy a ticket.
It's
It's
tonight,
like, you know.
baby. 500 mil. That's what I'm in for.
Okay. I guess I got to hit the store after this.
You got to 11 p.m. You got 6 hours. So.
Yeah. Here's my lottery advice for everybody. Please don't go and spend $200 on lottery tickets. Don't even
Unless you're
spend
Bobby. And
don't buy more than one ticket, because
Right.
it annoys me, because it's like somebody will be like, man, I spent like $1,000 because it's over $1 billion. Like, yeah, okay, hold on a second. You now have a 5,000 in whatever it is, 14 million chance of winning. It's like it's the same odds as having 1 in 14 million, dude. You've wasted your money. Like, please don't do that. Please just buy a single ticket. Like, don't just give your money away thinking you have better odds.
Yep.
Okay, Paul, what you got this week?
I'll go with my not null first. So I've been trying to like work out more, but I don't have a big apartment, so like getting like all the weights was like really tough. So they have these things called kettlebells, and so like I got a little kettlebell here. You just swing it around and it makes you feel like really like you're doing something. And so I have it next to my desk. So at work, when I'm gonna go like to the bathroom, I get up, I do like a couple of swings with it, whatever, and it's pretty neat, pretty cool. So if you have a small space and you won't like to exercise and you want to do something different, like kettlebells are pretty cool. But my null is, so I cook at home, and last night I made this like wonderful like fried chicken, and I love me some fried chicken with like ranch dressing. I was just dip it in. And so I was like, you know what? I go to this store HEB, and I'm gonna buy their little mini cups of like dressing, because it's just enough for me. I don't need to dip too much. It's like perfectly fine. And so I get it, and I'm like, oh, it's not their typical brand, and like it just looks cheaper. And I'm like, have this hot plate of wings. I'm so hungry, I just want to eat. And so I go to peel the top, and I go like, it has that peeler thing, and I go to peel it, and it just literally rips the peeler off and doesn't open. And then like I try to go on the other side, it rips the peeler off, doesn't open. I got like 5 of these things. So I'm like, all right, let me try. All 5 of them failed the same way. And so I literally like had to take a knife and stab it to get. And I was like, what the hell is the point of having this stupid peeler if it doesn't work? And every time I go to the store now and I see that same cheap ass brand that they have, I get anxiety, and I just flip. Like I want to flip out at the store, like just. And I'm like, what the hell? And I mean, I could just buy like a ranch bottle, but it's just so. Like, I love things fresh.
I can imagine you at the customer service desk, Paul, just being like, "Excuse me, I've previously bought these. These are you're selling these in the store now, but these are terrible."
Dude, and there'll be such an easy argument, because I would just literally be like, "All right, let's do this."
Like, here,
I wouldn't
watch.
even say watch. I'm like, you take one. I want you to pretend like you're serving me like and I know what would happen. They would open it perfectly. You know, that's just what it would be like. But yeah, that just drives me so crazy that it literally ruins my dinner. And so now I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to buy something different.
I just got to say something there, Paul. You might not need the kettlebell if you weren't going for the fried chicken. Just saying. I mean,
Canceling each other out.
First of all,
I mean,
Kevin, I use an air fryer to make my fried chicken, right? So there's no extra oil. And chicken,
well, I like that.
Somebody
It's good
said to me
protein.
like, what was your choice for dinner today? Ice cream or chicken? I think chicken is a better option. So here's like to you with your little jokes.
No, I love how you're null and not null like counter each other
But I'm
out.
just gonna say, honestly, if I didn't have that chicken, I'd probably get a cheesecake. All right, it's just the way it is.
Okay, so
Right.
it's
But
Could go either way.
But also,
Fair
like,
point.
I just want to.
Chicken or
I want
cheesecake.
to.
There's no
But
in
also, I do
between.
want to correct you on something. Like anybody who thinks that they could out-exercise their mouth is wrong. No amount of exercise or kettlebells or
True.
jogging is going to help you. So if you're overeating, that's what's causing it. It's not the exercise. It's not the kettlebell. It's not, but just if people are wondering, so it is the.
That is a
That's true.
45-pounder. That I'm pretty impressed.
I got another
Yeah,
one.
no,
It's,
that's-
that's
so
very
here's a funny
impressive.
story.
I have a 16-pound
I have
kettlebell.
another one.
That's
It's 85 pounds. There's no way in hell I'm lifting it over my desk and show it to you. I'm going to have a heart attack. I don't even know why I bought it. I bought it, it just collects dust. It's like 85 pounds.
Yeah, why do they
They
make,
make
them
them
that
like
heavy?
200 pounds. I'm like, they make it. I had one
Really?
which was like 150. I just wanted to try it. I was able to lift it like one time and to do a swing. And it's so heavy, it literally like throws you. So like you have to be like a
Hold on,
massive
do you
person.
get that delivered from Amazon?
No.
But you can use them to carries too, like not to get off
Yeah.
exercisey on you, but you can use them to do farmers carries where you just grip it and carry it around until
Yeah.
you can't hold it anymore.
Yeah.
It works on grip strength.
I had a
Uh,
friend. He had like a heavy kettlebell. I think I'm gonna be like doing exactly what he did. Is he had this heavy kettlebell that's visible in his room, and every time his friends come over, it's like, "Oh, you work out? You do kettlebells?" He's like, "Yeah." And then like one day,
Yeah.
I came over,
Yeah.
and my friend Vadim was like, "Yeah, I've been working out." I go to his kettlebell and I go like this, and it's got like a year of dust on it. I'm like, "You don't work out. What the hell out of here. You just talk about it. You just talk about it." But so for me,
That's
I'm
funny.
trying to not do that by putting it right under my feet. So I either stub my.
That would be one of those items, though, to make your Amazon.
Oh yeah,
driver
I would
annoyed
never
by.
do
That's
that.
what you can
Right.
put them on Amazon.
It's
Like-
Yeah.
funny that you say that. I have
That's a hard
I have
delivery.
never ordered weights online. I would physically drive to the store and buy it because I actually feel that. I'm like, there's no way in hell
Yeah.
I'm going to make some Amazon driver. By the time he gets to the third floor, he's going to be so pissed because it's all there's no elevator where I live. He's going to be so mad at me. It's like, I have like,
You're like,
dude.
and then you just return
Yeah,
it.
it's
You're like,
not the one I
what
wanted.
ordered.
You're
I
like, this
remember one day,
Take
I
this back.
ordered food like from the supermarket, and I think I ordered some heavy stuff. Like there was like cat litter, a bunch of other stuff. It wasn't that many. And when I opened the door for the dude that delivered, he looked so mad, And I was like, "Bro, like, what do you want me to do?"
You got a heavy tip being
Yeah,
on the third
yeah.
floor. Okay, well, that's it for this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for listening this long. You can drop us an email. Where can they drop us an email to, Sarah?
The Not Null Podcast at AOL.com.
That is correct. The Not Null Podcast at AOL.com. We did get a message from Greg this week, by the way, but I'll let you guys read it this week. I will send it on to you so you can read it, and we'll talk about it next week because it's an interesting topic. So we'll. But if anybody wants to email us, drop us an email there, and we will consider reading it out. Maybe, depending on what it says. Unless you'd like dissing Apple, then we won't. Sorry.
Oh, no, we will 100% read that. 100%.
Well, no, because I get to see them first, so I won't pass them on.
Dang it.
No, we would. If you really hated it, I'd like to listen and then tell you why you're wrong.
And then we'll tell you why you're right. It's fine. It's fine. It'll be all good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's it. We'll catch everybody next week.